Good morning, everyone. It is me. The boys are already back. The horses, the dog boys aren't back yet. I got their food ready though. It's every day. Oh, and I can see right here from the. Oh, you guys want to see? Let's see if I can. Let's see if it shows. Oh, ouch. Oh. Can you guys see all the blooms on her peas? Yes. I must have planted them a little late. I can't remember. But they're finally, because once June hits, it's going to be difficult. Peas don't like hot weather. So I think we could. So by the end of this month, I'd say we will have had a great harvest of peas. Yes. The carrots are coming in too. The radishes are almost done. That's also a cold crop most of the time, I'd say, around here anyway. Again, we live in a microclimate and it gets so hot. We're expecting a very hot summer here. So, yep, you just get ready for it, right? Yes. So, there it is. Saw a really good little video this morning I also shared on my Facebook page, which was in slow motion, baby goats doing the jumping and the this and the that and I don't know what. And it's since I had goats and baby goats, of course, it's the funniest thing to watch when they get into it and get really start that jumping and this and that and it's just beautiful. It's just amazing. The energy these little guys have to start with, and then when they are tuckered out, man, they're tuckered out. Interestingly too, the mamas, they're always there. They're always here. It was like that, kind of somewhere grazing, lifting their heads every so often, checking on where their babies are, and so beautiful, just beautiful, wonderful scene to see, right? Yes. Interestingly enough, that baby goats are called kids. And while I was watching this little video and had, again, it's the stuff, okay, that I see that involves children now. Young children. No, we're not talking young adults, teenagers, or even preteens, okay? Little guys, right? Yes? Little children. It's like, oh my gosh, has the sanity of people, of parents gone out the door, left the building somewhere? I watched this video and got, there you go, interestingly, they're called kids too, right? Yes? Here they are, just doing their thing, this and that, and I don't know what, and then they're tuckered out, right? I think that parents out there, right, who have children, high energy, this and that, and not every child is the same, but high energy, then they should just acknowledge that in their children and go, man, they need a lot of outside time to start with. They need a home where there aren't that many toys, but a lot of room to romp around and just, right? Yes? My children were allowed to jump on the couch, the beds, the whatever. There was that didn't allow them to throw things around. That was not allowed, okay? Unless we specifically had either a stuffed animal fight, right, or a pillow fight or something. And even then, right, teach your children to use moderate strength, especially when it comes to younger siblings, this and that, right? Children they play with. And I've just watched that and gone, yeah, yep, yep. Why do we have to medicate young children so they can fit behind the desk and just about just zone out? Huh? There aren't other ways to teach children anymore? Okay, I'm a mom who homeschooled. Huh? And yeah, you had to eventually. Okay, now you're going to have to. But we got it done. People out there worry. Okay, if some you might have to worry, right? If the parents aren't just keeping their kids home and not doing anything with them either, then okay. Some children, like I myself, learned early on their own. So there are those out there, right? Well, anyway. The excuse is made now to, as I said, already medicate children. Then they just become these little zombies. Yes, in a way, I've seen it with other children. I've seen it. And all their spunk is gone. Well, anyway, so I have one experience, or I'm going to tell one experience that I had here with a school. I went and was asked as a parent to come in, volunteer, and sit with this one child, right? Yes? Okay. Well, sit with this one child. This child couldn't even be in the classroom, all right, with the other ones. It was completely separated out, which that's not a good thing. The child immediately will feel that. And the confusion over how the child is, no, just as the child is, okay? Then already it becomes confused, and then it's going to, as people want to say, act out even more. Yes? Okay. That's just a normal response for a child when certain things are happening. The child notices but doesn't know what to do with. So I was with this child, and I was supposed to try and teach him how to read. I could immediately tell that's not going to happen, not in the setting that they want me to do it in. But so I let him just run around. Where we were in the library, I just let him do what he wanted. Then I'd say, okay, come and have a look at this real quick, right? And he'd come. It wasn't as if he wasn't responding to wanting to be taught, but there was so much energy in that little body. It was just unbelievable, right? And but he had to. They need to fit the box created for them, right? Yes, by whom? I don't know. People with no children or something. Don't know how that works. But here's a child that's definitely was left behind. I have no doubt. We came up with this conversation last night on are there really no children left behind? And I talked about that in another video. So I thought about this child and going, this child would, if one were to take these children who have this much energy, this now, outside, and let them just run, and you follow them, right? Now it takes a high energy adult for that too, right? Who can put the doggone cell phone away? And you go after them, and while you're doing that, you say, guys, look at this. That's a tree spelled Tree. Now you repeat after me. Wow, they're jumping around this and that. Okay, has that ever been tried before? I don't know. But I looked at this little boy and I'm going, this is exactly what he would need. Of course, I had to follow the guidelines of the school. In any case, and I thought to myself, again, all right, so the solution that has been found for children like that, first of all, label them with something, right? and then medicate them. That's basically what, right? Yes. And then there are adults out there, don't get me wrong, you do what you want, right? But what I see, and I've heard, okay, yes, even in my own family, if I would have been on blah, 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 and I think I have, and I'm going, oh, yeah, really? That's your excuse now, for not knowing how to do what? To behave properly? Or curb your energy? Or use your energy in the right place? Come on now. Don't give me that. I said. Sadly, right? Yes, children learn early on how to manipulate their surroundings as well. Yeah, especially when you cater. Yeah. Okay. But I thought, so they're called, in a way, special needs children. Okay? All right. Oh, look who's back, huh, guys? Are they really special needs? Or do they just learn differently? And then you never know where children with that much energy, would excel later on if, right? Yes? One would just give them a chance to learn differently than what they're, in a sense, are capable of. Is a child of 5 or 6 able to comprehend algebra right away? Yes or no? Oh, they're the few geniuses out there. Okay, all right. Oh, so you're good with that. But then the children who are so high energy, right, where their body is requires that movement, for what? For learning as well. Yes? For some, it takes meditation and concentration, this and that, to absorb. Then for others, in a high energy, say nature, where they can use their body as well. They're not just using their mind. They're using their body to learn as well at the same time. Now, guess what that is? That's multitasking. Yes? Yeah. Just saying. Yet, they are, again, what do we do as adults? What do doctors tell us? Well, but because nobody really is willing to study these children, these kids. And again, find that we have this wonderful example in nature on the positive side, where, they're called kids. I wonder how that came to be. That then we call our children kids. Those are kids. Baby goats are called kids. We call our children kids too. Interesting? Yes. All right, not in every language it is the same. All right. Come on, guys. Let me feed you real quick. Oh, come here. Porch is all wet. Somebody was in the water. So, just thought I'd mention that. Yes. All right, let's get going here in Deuteronomy 14. Oh, wait a minute. Did we do 14 already? No. Oh, I see. All right, we'll continue on against an idolatrous practice. Well, here you go, right? Different area of idolizing something that is a problem for some of our children. All right. You are children of Yahweh your God. You must not gash yourselves or shave your foreheads for the dead. Oh. For you are a people consecrated to Yahweh your God, and Yahweh has chosen you to be his own people from all the people on the earth. Oh, interesting. What's he trying to tell us here? They didn't even mourn their dead properly. Interesting. Oh, okay. Well. Clean and unclean animals. You must not eat anything disgusting. These are the animals you may eat: ox, sheep, goat, deer, gazelle, roebuck, ibex, antelope, oryx, mountain sheep. They all existed there. They had gazelles in the Middle East. Ibex, oryx. Oh, we went and checked out that oryx. Wasn't that a rabbit or something? You may eat any animal that has a divided and cloven hoof, and that is a ruminant. Of those, however, that are ruminants, and of those that have a divided and cloven hoof, you may not eat the following: the camel, the hare, the coney. Oh no, the coney was a hare. The onyx is something different then. Which are ruminants but have no cloven hoof. You must class them as unclean. So also the pig, which though it has a cloven hoof, is not a ruminant. You must class it as unclean. You must neither eat the meat of such animals nor touch their dead bodies. How many pigs did they have there at that time? I actually went and looked that up, and there weren't many, okay? Including in Egypt, there were not many pigs, all right? While the Israelites were still there. Not many pigs there, and they were special meat for the pharaohs. Wait a minute. All right. So some of this was taken from where and why and still added to it as a practice from before. But it says that God told them not to, right? Really? Okay. They're so bad at listening to everything else, right? Really, when it comes to the important things. Right? Yet, okay, I'm just saying, I don't know. I said maybe I'm just making excuses so I can still eat my blood sausage. Okay. And you can't touch their dead bodies. Well, so what? They just rot out in the open? Then other animals come and eat them? And pigs, man, once they start, so you don't have many pigs. Now you don't eat any of them. And when they start to multiply, oh man, they're having some problems, I think, in Canada right now with wild pigs. And yeah, well, okay, I'm not sure. I don't know. It was at that time. Don't know. I don't know. Of whatever lives in water, you may eat the following. You may eat anything that has fins and scales, but you must not eat anything without fins and scales. You must class it as unclean. Does that? Well, shrimp have scales, don't they? But do they have fins? They have a tail, don't they? So, shrimp's okay. Shrimp's one of my favorites. Well, anyway. You may eat all clean birds, but the following birds you must not eat: the tawny vulture, the griffin, the osprey, the kite, and the several kinds of buzzard. Because they eat what? So is it again? It sounds to me like does it depend on what the animal eats actually? That then the The meat's unclean because of disease that it could cause, right? And that's the caution here. That kind of sounds like. Yeah, people says, well, I said a rabbit, a hare, a coney, they're all ruminants. They're herbivores. Not quite true. They will actually eat their young. That's flesh. They will eat their young if they feel that they are being threatened. And rather than have something else get to them, they will kill them and they will eat them. Yes. I know. I had rabbits. Okay, mine never did that. But I remember it happening when I was young and we had all them rabbits when I was a child, and it happened there. Yes, yeah. Someone went, and often sadly was a child, that went in and hadn't been taught to, not me, I never did that. No, I know better. We were taught by our mom, but there were other children there, and sometimes it was like it was locked up, and where you could go in to all the little stalls there, right? And they would go in and it would touch the babies to snap. The next day they were all dead. All kinds of raven, the ostrich, the screech owl, the seagull, the several kinds of hawk, owl, barn owl, ibis, pelican, white vulture, cormorant, stork, the several kinds of heron, hoopoe, and bat. You are to class all winged insects as unclean and must not eat them. You may eat any clean fowl. You must not eat any animal that has died a natural death. Now chickens, and I don't know, maybe they didn't have chickens at that time. Chickens, they're not herbivores either. Right? So what's the difference with chickens? And chickens can develop some pretty nasty diseases as well, right? And they can be totally wormed. I mean, full of worms and stuff like that. Yet that's okay. Turkeys, that's okay. See? I don't know. So, what? Certain animals they don't need to be mentioned. Well, they weren't living by the sea per se, right? Not going through the desert. Okay, but they could be living by the sea. Okay, all right. Later on, they do now. You must not eat any animal that has died a natural death. You may give it to a resident foreigner to eat. Gus! Jake! You just can't wait to have a hoof strike you, huh? Come on. Leave him alone. Okay, so the Israelites cannot eat it, but you can give it to a foreigner to eat. Somebody else to eat. Really? Wait a minute. If that's the case, right, shouldn't the Israelites also teach? Wouldn't God rather they teach also every foreigner, everybody out there, to come into the fold of whom? Or are we what? Creating an Aryan race here? Oh, wait a minute. What does that sound like? Okay, that's an odd one, don't you think? I don't know. I'm not sure. Somebody wrote it down like that. So. I'm a foreigner, then I can eat blood sausage. Okay, good. Or sell it to a foreigner. For you are a people consecrated to Yahweh your God. You must not boil a kid in its mother's milk. Oh, looky here. I bring up kid, a baby goat. There's even mentioned as a kid in here. You must not boil a kid in its mother's milk. Do people do that? Okay. That's an odd one. Oh, interesting. I wonder what other significance that has when it comes to teaching human beings about certain things. The annual tithe. Every year you must take a tithe of what your fields produce from what you have sown, and in the presence of Yahweh your God, in the place where he chooses to give his name a home, you must eat the tithe of your wheat, of your new wine, and of your oil, and the firstborn of your herd and flock. And by so doing, you will learn always to fear Yahweh your God. Respect, to not forget where all your prosperity and your riches come from, right? And at that time, being nourished to survive, have water, right? This was very what? Important. Yes? Well, it's important now, but where do we get all our stuff, more or less, right? Rather get it. If the road is too long for you, if you cannot bring your tithe because the place in which Yahweh chooses to make a home for his name is too far away, when Yahweh your God has blessed you, you must convert it into money. And with the money clasped in your hand, you must go to the place chosen by Yahweh your God. Well, that kind of has become just a regular practice, hasn't it? The money part. Do people still, I still do that in a way, to say thank you to something? Next time I go to church, I bring a dozen eggs for the pastor. How's that? People still do that? Well, they tithe and they do that. But when it comes down to it, how about if people would still bring? Well, this is my first right here. This is my tithe. This as what? Now it's all money, right? Yes? Oh, okay. Well, they kept that part. Isn't that interesting? So many other things. Also, when it comes to Christians, everything else here from the Old Testament, really, I mean, come on. We're not doing that anymore, right? Yet, what have we kept in place? Yeah, what's still in place? Interesting. The collection of what? A tithe. In what form? Lucrative business, I tell you what. There you may spend the money on whatever you like. Oxen, sheep, wine, fermented liquor, anything you please. Oh! Oh, that's an interesting one. So where is the tithe going then? Then there is no tithe, right? There you must eat in the presence of Yahweh your God and rejoice, you and your household. Do not neglect the Levite living in your community, since he has no share or heritage of his own among you. Aha. Okay, so again, right? What's the main thing to God here? Right? And interesting, so, just go to where God has chosen a place where he will be present as well. Oh, so he's not present that time. He wasn't always everywhere. So you go to that place, and then you get to do still with the money whatever you want, as long as, right, God's a part of it. So what's the most important thing to God again? Our Father in heaven, our heavenly parents, to be a part of our life. Simple as that. Then all this other complicated stuff falls away. Right? Yes? Okay. And it's a reminder again. Okay, this is what we need to do. To what? Not forget God over everything else. Don't forget your children, what they need over everything else. And, of course, yes, sent Cece to church the other day saying, please encourage your pastor. They have a hard time too. Yes, trying so hard to what? Entice the people to come to church. Please listen to the word of God. Give that Sabbath to God. Right? Let him be a part of your life at least a couple hours a week. And unless, of course, it happens in your home, just like it happens here all the time, 24/7. A priest, a preacher, a reverend, right, is teaching that to the people, right? Yes, right? Well, that is a fact too. But they need to be nourished as well with the support of the community, not in money, but in encouraging word. No, you're doing a good job. I'm not trying. Let's save another lost sheep out there that needs the healing of the church. Yes? Well, that is. Why is that looked differently than people going to the hospital and receiving healing? Yes? If it's on the side of goodness, it'll always come out good. Right? It'll always be, whatever happens will be right. Yeah, some things go wrong in the hospital too. Right? Yes, it happens. Yeah. All right. The third year tithe. At the end of every 3 years, you must take all the tithes of your harvest for that year and collect them in your community. Then the Levite, since he has no share or heritage of his own among you, the foreigner, the orphan, and the widow living in your community will come and eat all they want. Only every 3 years? What do they do in the meantime? We call it in Switzerland, or Germans call it Almosen. You beg. And so Yahweh your God will bless you in all the labors that you undertake. Oh, interesting, the third year tithe. Well, at least it's in there. Yeah. As said, when I read certain things, even in here, I just wonder on how much was, again, just for the profit of whom, right? Right? Though, in this particular one, I remember in the other ones when we read, and I remember Deuteronomy again is what? The second law, the second time around to establish, right? More so on what God's trying to teach. It does sound a bit different, doesn't it, than the first time around? The first time around, there were so many really just. This time around, it seems to be. It has a deeper meaning. There seems to be suddenly, there's a deeper meaning coming out of a lot of it, right? Where the physical isn't just the important part. And death doesn't follow you all over the place. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, that's just interesting. I saw a question of a younger generation where people of faith, Christians this now, should be willing to be a part of politics, right? Yes? And on how leadership in church doesn't really, okay. Yes and no, I have to say. In order to really be constructive rather than destructive when it comes to all that, you've got to have a really good what? Political system, government in your own home, in your own surroundings, right? Yes? To start with. Then, if that's all working really good and peace and harmony with God as the center, then one can go out and become a part of something what? Something bigger rather than just the squabbling and doubling and the arguments and the I don't know what goes on out there with all that. Right? And otherwise, it's just, yeah, okay, so you're into politics, this snap, but why? For what reason? Right? Yes? Okay. So one has to be very, very centered. And number one, the Ten Commandments. So, yeah, I encourage people, yes, get into the city council, this and that, I don't know what. And the first thing, okay, I follow the Ten Commandments, and anything you want me to do or say that does not follow those guidelines, I can't be a part of. And nobody should be a part of. Yes? Now, say that were to start to happen. Same in the courtrooms. You got your own little communities. You say, we're bringing the Ten Commandments back in. We don't care. Otherwise, we just won't have a courtroom here. Or we start having our own court somewhere else under the guidance of God. Not what anymore? The political agenda. The Lord's Prayer, bring that back. In schools, the same thing. There are some fundamental things. You want to be involved in politics. That's the first thing you do. You bring God back into the world. Because is that not what we just read about? When it came to all the... Who the center on? Everything. The first goes to whom, yet you still get to eat it. God would like to be present. God wants to be present everywhere. And so, one wants to get into politics, be very clear about that. Because otherwise, you're just going to become a part of the mess. And that's it. But I guarantee you, if someone has that, yes, this is what I want to do. I do feel like that's something that I would be strong at. This snap goes out there. Some people are really good at talking. Then make sure that you do it under the proper guidance. And the first thing, if I have to break any of the 10 Commandments, and this is what they are, know them by heart. This, and this. And the Lord's Prayer. And this is the Lord's Prayer. And if whatever you want me to do goes against that, I will not be for it. Done. And no excuses made for none of it. Because I'm here to represent the people under the umbrella of God. Ta-da! There you go. Yes? Cool. I want to end with that. Woo! 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 And I'm going to end with that. So beautiful, beautiful painting today of True Mother in the middle. And yes, she had the little halo going, which I'm perfectly fine with. That woman deserves more than a halo, okay? And women around, old and young, with children, and this, that, right? And some people had something negative to say about it. Yeah, again, the worship stuff, this, that. Not realizing, only looking at one part of the painting and not seeing the rest. To me, that was a beautiful presentation of womanhood with True Mother as the center. And one can go out there and read about certain things, this and that, even her own children. Just, oh my gosh, they so deserve a spanking, even at their age. Dun, dun. Yes, they do. Any accusations. If you really go and study up the life of True Mother, any accusations laid at her feet, at her door, have no hands and feet, no head, no torso, nothing. It's all just hot air. It's not even that. It's nothing. Absolute nothing, right? Yes. A black hole has more to give than these accusations against True Mother. So, that's what I found. Done. Perfect. Beautiful painting. Yes. To show womanhood. Beautiful. Just, I love it. I just love it. Yes. So again, one looks at it with eyes of Of what? People should ask sometimes, if God were to look at that and stand in front of it, this or that, how would he feel? How would he view that? How would God, as the heavenly parents, view a picture like that? Negative? Positive? Would it be joyful? A joyful moment? I think so. I know so. Of course I'm a woman. Of course I'm I'm not even going to tell you what spirit world. Just let me. Who dared to argue with you? That's what they came back with. Oh, okay. God's love and blessings always. May he protect you. And I will talk to y'all another time.